On the platform with us today, everyone, welcome to the Cam Matrix, Matt Calero from Paint Blue.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Well, okay, you and I met about a month ago in person. Tell me a little bit about Paint Blue. Let us know, everybody in the Cam Matrix.
Okay, so Paint Blue is a commercial painting contractor. We specialize only in commercial buildings. That is a combination of apartment complexes, condominiums, HOAs, those types of multifamily units.
Right.
We also do a little bit of warehouse and industrial buildings as well. So our focus is on these types of larger scale buildings versus the smaller contractor that could do residential homes as well, or different sectors. And so they're not necessarily a master at one thing because they're spreading their company in multiple avenues. Versus us, we're very hyper focused on large commercial repaints.
You were telling me a little bit about the education that you guys provide and just a awareness about your industry. You put together a newsletter?
Yeah, that is correct. So we send out a monthly newsletter that goes out to all of our contacts and others that reach out on social media. We're very active on there, and then now we're going to be very active on the new Cam platform where we could provide our newsletter. It's once a month, and it's an insight on commercial painting, best practices, how the process works. If there's a new manager that's never painted a building before or gone through the whole process, kind of the steps of how you meet a contractor, meet paint reps, make sure that the due diligence is done correctly. And so we're going to give some tools each month that the property managers can look at and get some value and some knowledge about the industry.
I love that. People say, well, they're selling, but no, education is the best way to go. Somebody that you educate is going to remember you long after somebody that you just met and said hello to and didn't, you're bringing something to the table, and that's nice. Can you tell me exactly how do you guys change things up?
So Paint Blue is driven by systems. We're detailed with our systems. We have checklists for every time we go out to do a proposal. When we're actually on the site during the process of painting the building, we're following our checklists and our systems. And then as we finish the project, there's always details that we're providing as well. And what that means is we document everything from the supervisors to the guys in the field, the technicians actually painting, to the managers. They're receiving these documentation photos and they're giving those back to the property manager on a weekly basis. That at the end of the project, there's a report that comes out that breaks down what the process that we did to paint that building. Showing pictures of the pressure washing, the steps of the pressure washing, the prep, the primer, and the paint. And that report is very key for the property managers to have some value, to be able to share that with the board members, with whoever is needed to ensure that the proper steps were taken to do this project. The other thing, before we're even preparing our proposal, we do a report, and this is a value that we're adding to the marketplace. And this report is, we'll go throughout the building, we'll take pictures, we'll document the status of the stucco, the sealants, and the paint, the current status of what the building is right now. And that report is with pictures, with detailed descriptions. This comes with every commercial repaint that we do. Comes out even before the proposal. So we're bringing value by allowing the property managers to understand what's going on with their building from the eyes of an experienced contractor. And that gives them value that they could use. However, if we don't move forward with the proposal, they have some knowledge to be able to compare future proposals, apples to apples, and something that they could bring to the boards, to other colleagues to review as well. We take pride in this because it gives them an insight that they might not get without getting into the field and truly looking around the building.
I love that you said that, because I want to say that a lot of times people just go in and say, we're bidding. But you're saying, no, we're going to go in and we're going to kind of consult you. And then if you want to go further with us to bid, we'll bid it type thing.
That is correct. We, instead of coming out and just talking to the property manager and maybe getting out and walking the building a little bit and then saying, yes, we'll send you over a proposal. What we're going to do is inform. Consultative bidding is kind of our concept, and we will inform you of what's going on during the process while we're there talking, but it's all followed up, documented. That's the key, versus others may not provide any documentation.
Until you get the proposal.
Until you get the proposal, you don't quite know what it is, and they're not sure if they caught all the details or not, and it just gives them many more details. Like they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And so by just putting a few pictures on there, with a simple description, they will be able to understand what the depth of the prep is needed in a particular area, if there's restoration needed beforehand, and where we could point that out so they could use a proper contractor to restore first before we come in and do the painting.
Okay, so I know that with the different painting manufacturers, I'm not going to name any because there's so many good ones out there, but the painting manufacturer kind of comes out and does the specs, right? Do you work with them? So like, let's say they're going to do a spec or something. Do you say, you know what, we're going to do a consultation? I mean, maybe they have or haven't chosen which paint manufacturer they're going to use. And I know sometimes the lead comes from the paint manufacturer, even after they've gone and done that whole, measuring of the building, spec'd everything out. Do you still come back and do that whole consultation type setup?
That is correct. We like to hand in hand with the paint manufacturers. The paint rep will go out there and they will do their initial review of the building. Sometimes that is before we get there and they have the initial first contact with the property manager. Other times it's us, we're the first time out there, and then we'll bring in the paint rep to concur the things that we found. But their key thing is to make sure the right products are used in the right location. And we are looking for details of how we're going to prep to get it to that state in order to use those products. And so we're looking for additional information that they might not have noticed, and we'll collaborate together with the paint manufacturer to confirm that we both saw the same thing when we were out there, and it brings more eyes on the project in this manner.
Now, are you the owner?
I am the owner.
Do you have a contractor's license? Because I know a lot of times when you guys get into the whole paint process, you find things. In fact, today we just sat through our Delta Engineering CEU class, and they were talking about structural engineering, and he spoke about finding things in high rises that you may not even know are there until you have somebody go up, wash the building down or get ready to paint. So when you run into that kind of stuff, what do you guys do?
So that's part of the process when we're out and initially investigating the building. It may be a little bit different case when it is a high rise. You might need a swing stage or a lift boom to get up there. But when it's a lower building, we could do our initial review and report. A lot of those things will come up at that point. If we feel that it's beyond the scope of work for a painting contractor, we'll bring that forward in the manner that they could approach a restoration company to be able to make these repairs. We will only do very light, minimal repairs, such as replacing caulking, removing expansion joints and replacing those. But when it comes to deeper structural repairs, that is not part of the scope of work for Paint Blue. We're focused on actual painting itself. And we feel that it's best to be a master at one thing instead of trying to do a little bit of everything. There is multiple contractors out there that do each scope, and then you're kind of in bed and stuck with one contractor the whole time. And versus you might be able to get a better price when you could negotiate two different contractors, and you don't have to be tied down to one completely to do the whole scope of work. They could just be focused on restoring the building, then we could come in and just be focused on painting the building.
Another thing too is I know a lot with paint contractors, you guys find stuff after the fact. Like you go out there and not you, I'm not saying you, but I know that you're in your industry. It's really, it happens a lot, I would imagine.
Yes, it is common to find things, even with our thorough reports. once we're actually physically on the building, touching the building, power washing with 4,000 PSI, things do come up. And the key is communication at that point. Anything that comes up, it will always have a picture. The picture documentation is our most important asset that we have, from the technician to the field supervisor to back to us in the office. And that is key to be able to bring that information to the property manager in a timely manner. And what we typically do is we'll get those pictures, those documentations, we'll forward it out with a 3 option to repair these things. The 3 options are typically do nothing about it and just put paint on it and move forward, to do a minor repair on it with caulking or elastomeric patch, or a full-blown, if it is structural, restoration and repairs in that matter. But bring forward those 3 options, some actual solutions to what we have found, and some documentation. But for us, it works well to have the pictures, to get it forward as fast as possible. It keeps the project moving smoothly.